Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video. Now welcome to a high rating spectate, and I think for the first time ever, could be wrong but I think it is, we're watching a support mainly. And the title of the video is going to be something probably on the lines of like, what does it take to be a challenger support, featuring BARD. So this player we're watching is the top 10 roughly challenger players on EU West, and the role of support is, well, it's both underappreciated in what supports do, but I think most of the community would deem support the easiest role to play. And that doesn't mean anybody could climb with it. That doesn't mean anybody could get diamond or challenger playing support, obviously. But, you know, you're not the carry. You're not farming. You're not the one that needs to maximize your gold income every single minion wave while also doing damage to the opponent. There's other things going on. Obviously, supports, their main minigame is vision. So they're trying to control and deny vision. And the better supports that you get, obviously depending what champion that they're on, they are trying to do damage. They are trying to be annoying and they're trying to cause disruption, especially to the enemy AD carry. So we're going to watch this guy. He's playing BARD. And I also just want to make the point clear, because a lot of people have always said throughout the years going, oh, you know, most challenge supports, they just duo with an AD carry and then that's how they get challenger. Reminding people, modern day, since preseason has began, there is no duo queuing from master and above. So this being a challenger game, everybody in this game is solo, and that now means, meanwhile, level 1 potential engage is happening. Enemy team was doing like a little cheesy play, was probably waiting in the river there to try and make them when they're walking from a lane. And by the way, this trade actually hasn't gone that well for the enemy team. That E was very interesting. And BARD, by the way, gets assault first blood for the BARD. If you notice that whole fight, what did BARD continuously do? Deal damage. Constantly auto-attacking. And that's one thing straight away. Dark Harvest stack over to the Jhin. Look at the pressure the BARD's dealing, by the way. Is the better supports you see, no matter really what champion they're playing, they're maximizing their damage. So that's already one thing. What does it take to be a challenger support? Actually, as weird as it sounds, dealing damage. And that isn't just BARD, that's, if you see Soraka's, it was supposed to be a Healy supporty one, they're constantly auto-attacking, they're constantly looking for their poke Q. And that's the same with Janna's. Janna now in lane, maxes W, like for damage. That kind of tells you everything about Janna. But anyway, let's see how it goes. So, good start for red team. BARD's still looking for these auto-attacks, which obviously is going to help. Well, actually, I was going to say it's going to help towards his support item, but it's not. So BARD has opted for the tank support item, which obviously doesn't give gold, or doesn't give quest XP for the gold when he gets poke on the enemy. Meanwhile, another W hit by Jhin, that's nice. It's obviously per minion last hit and how much gold he's getting from that. Kindred is in the area, by the way, and I think the enemy team are aware. They're pushing it in fast, and this is a big minion wave. Red team would want to try and deny this. Meanwhile, engage is happening. BARD looking aggressive, gets his Q, but doesn't get the stun. Graves has to flash at the end, and you get constant auto attacks from BARD. Jin's going to go aggressive. He picks up one kill, but does go down in the end. And that is probably going to be that. Katarina's on the way down, and if you notice in mid lane, by the way, Katarina or Akali, two of the strongest mid laners in the game, are in quite often most solo queue games you see in Challenger nowadays. Because again, these are the higher skill, you know, their win rates don't always reflect how strong they are because they're more high. Well, Akali isn't that hard to play, but you know what I mean. Like, it's very easy to make mistakes, let's say, on Akali or Katarina. Therefore, their win rate isn't always like crazy. But yeah, so far for the BARD, good aggression level. His damage so far has been pretty good, pretty impressive actually. And constantly looking for it. You know, aggressive is obviously the key word, and that's another thing that I would say of what takes to be a high rating support player. Aggressive. It's so rare to see a support, and again, no matter what they're playing, it's rare to see, even in Diamond and above, if it's a support main, they're not really going to be passive. I'd wager they're going to be fairly aggressive, because you have to. Like, you need to make an impact. Meanwhile, enemy team double kill the Aatrox. The Kennen, I don't really think moved quick enough, by the way. And now Kennen, not sure he's going to be able to take that Aatrox out, and Aatrox is probably wanting to take this fight. Aatrox himself, a quite strong champion right now. Does obviously have his counters. You know, Fiora, I imagine for Aatrox players is quite a common ban. But obviously, Aatrox is massive with healing, so just get anti-healing in the early game, and that's going to hurt Aatrox quite a lot. Right, so nice W by the Jhin. Not much aggression's going to come out of that. Obviously, Leona, you can see, is struggling XP-wise. Only level 2 to Bard's level 3. Obviously, both AD carries level 4 themselves. Camera wants to have a mind of its own. Stop doing that, Camera. Thank you. But yeah, so far, so good. Enemy item build, obviously, for the Bard, by the way. Not really sure what item he's going to go. We'll obviously discover that together. But I can kind of have a little look through this guy's match history and just give some details, if you guys want, of the player itself, just so you have an idea of who we're watching. So, we are watching currently the rank 16, actually, EUS player. Has been a challenger player, master player since season 5, really. So, for 5 years has been at the top of EU West. And is a support player through and through. So, they're most played right now. Oh, actually, that's pre-season. In pre-season, I can tell you they're playing Rakan and BARD the most. But in the actual season, last season, they played Thresh, BARD, Karma, Pyke, Blitzcrank. So they did play Rakan, but not that much. So Rakan is becoming a lot more of a bigger priority for this BARD player. Meanwhile, Flash into the stun. Obviously, this Katarina has gone for the high-risk, high-reward strategy of the teleport ignite. If it works, it does really well. If it doesn't, it usually goes quite bad because you're missing your flash. But Bard goes for a nice stun, but doesn't manage to get anything that. Enemy bot lane, sorry, not enemy bot lane. Leona and Graves waiting in the bush for the Bard, and they actually do pick him up. So you've got to be careful, you know, especially when there's no vision on the enemy bot lane. You've roamed as Bard, therefore, you know, the enemy bot lane might roam too. And Leona did obviously do that. Because one thing you'll always notice when we've done these challenger spectates, and we don't have to watch the support to see that, but if you watch the last episode, we were watching Kassadin, it became a 2v2 in mid lane. Both supports are like level 5, level 6, just sat in mid. It's a lot, so 0.3 if you want, of what does it say to be a challenger support. Again, dealing damage constantly, pressure, all that stuff, but also roaming is a big part of being a high rating support. You just leave your AD carry, get on with it, and you might think, you know, oh, I'm going to leave my AD carry in a 1v2 situation. Maybe in lower rating you do, because the enemy support might not be roaming, but in higher rating, when one support roams, the other support roams too. It's very common, and then when one support is back in lane, the other one's back in lane. Meanwhile, Katarina gets a solo kill on the Akali, and Akali didn't even get an assist on the kill that Kindred got on the Katarina. So that cat must have absolutely wrecked that Akali in mid just now. Right, so obviously Jhin, worth obviously noting. Everybody knows he's arguably one of the strongest picks in the game now. Dark Harvest with the Eclipse build. It's being nerfed in the upcoming week. Jhin specifically. Not sure if Eclipse is getting touched. Not sure. But that is, by the way, going to happen. I predicted this pretty much when all these new mythic items are coming out, is that there are going to be use cases that these mythic items get broken for champions that they're not intended for. It's happened throughout the years with other items. Ezreal as a champion has made so many items broken. Meanwhile, Jhin gets engaged on, but will back away. Did have to use his cleanse. He's going with an ultimate. Bard's going to do some damage, and they just get the Leona quite low, and Jhin will pick up another Dark Harvest stack. But yeah, it's happened throughout the years of an item that is not designed to be for a champion, and then a champion starts picking up, and it's really strong. And the reason why that happens is because the designers, the balance team and all that, they don't think about like what it could happen on other champions because they're intending it to be one certain champion design. So like when Ezreal started using many years ago the Elder Lizard jungle item, it was never predicted because why would an Ezreal build a jungle item in bot lane? That's how it kind of gets strong. Meanwhile, they get a nice pick on the Leona. Leona was looking very aggressive, obviously, with her flash, but did miss her E, unfortunately. But yeah, it's the same story. You know, Eclipse is a burst duelist item. Riot, I bet, didn't predict that Jins and Misfortunes would start building the item. Meanwhile, Bard going for an ulti is going to look for the free stun after it. Again, very aggressive. They get the Kai'Sa flash, but that's going to be that, you know. He tanks the tower for his team, he survives at an okay amount of health, and there is now a killing spree for the Kindred. So nice use of his ultimate. Bard ultimate to me is one of the best abilities in the game. Just flat out, you know, there is so much use case for Bard ultimate, both aggression and defense. So you can save your team defensively with it because it's an invulnerability. You can use it as an engage tool to catch people out. There's other things as well. When a Rift Herald is doing its big charge on a tower, Bard can ultimate that tower and save the tower from the big charge damage. Bard ultimate is such a dynamic ability that you can use it for so many things that it's wonderful, and when a good Bard uses it, it's fantastic to see. So item build so far, by the way, for the Bard has actually rushed Merc Treads, which is quite interesting because normally mobility boots with the heavy roam playstyle would be what he would go, but that is probably giving a little bit of respect to the Leona. If the Leona does CC lock me, I'm in trouble, so there's that, and also Katarina damage in mid, and then also Kingle Gem, which obviously will be building into whatever mythic item the Bard will be going into. Still not sure which one he's doing. So the enemy team, you can see, is spamming. Jhin doesn't have flash right now, so that's probably like, hey, we should gank him. The enemy team are in the area. Drin, again, no flash, so is dead. So that's the Leona making that call, which also, the Leona's 2 levels down. Graves damage obviously ridiculously high, and guess what? Yes, is another Eclipse user. So Eclipse is an item very strong. Its ability is quite strong. Kindred doing a nice flash actually there, and we'll pick up another kill Rampage for that. Kali in trouble. Enemy team looking to kind of group up right now. Meanwhile, she does survive for now. Does go down. Wow, that damage by Graves is high. Enemy team looking quite strong. Enemy team's got the first dragon advantage. They've got kill advantage. They've got gold advantage. So this game not looking too good for the Bard and friends. Right, returning to mid lane though. Jhin ultimate, again, replays, by the way, are still bugged. So we still don't have some of the animations. So we don't have the big curtain that comes with the Bard ultimate, which is a bit annoying. But anyway, Dragon coming. We just saw Katarina was low. That's who the Jhin was ulting for. So maybe a forced Dragon situation should happen. Leona waiting in the Dragon pit. But now Leona potentially engaged in the wrong target. Kindred in trouble though. The damage is so high. Who can come and help? The Graves also nearly dead. You can see Bard just trying to constant auto attack as much as he can with then an engage. But so just to say, the other thing with Bard ultimate, not every single time that you throw an ultimate and miss, it's a bad situation. Let's go back and watch that just to show you guys. So speed it up to let this go past. All right, this is about to happen. So watch the Bard ultimate. I'll slow it down. Bard ultimate. So notice that, oh, okay, if the Kindred was going to continue walking forward, she would have got hit. She doesn't have flash up. She would have got hit by Bard ultimate. She's dead. But what it also did, it made Kindred walk back towards the enemy team. So it's a win-win. You're either going to hit them and you stun them or invulnerable and then they're dead, or you're making them, if you over-aim it, it makes them try to dodge it, but the only way that she could have dodged that was walk towards the danger. So now she's walked towards the danger, straight into the enemy team, and she's also going to probably find herself dead if the enemy team don't manage to muck anything up. And any second, any minute, here we go, she is dead. So there we go. So that's, again, the use case for Bard Ultimate is not just about hitting it and landing it, it's also about zoning and stuff like that too. I'm surprised that the dragon isn't being done. It's probably because the Kindred is dead. But the red team now with pulling a slight, not lead back. They're still behind in gold by over 1,000. But dragon obviously is still quite a priority in the game of League. I would expect Graves to want to get every dragon. That's any good jungler probably wants every dragon. Bard's going to do his best and does dodge actually the Leona and will just walk away. Nice denial of that control ward there. And, yeah, so nothing crazy going to go on maybe for the next minute or so. Bard is going to go back, which, again, this might give the enemy team this dragon, I will say, because it doesn't look like red team is in the area to help if this was going to go down. And also, and there you go, Graves has killed it. Kennen used teleport for that fight, and Aatrox didn't, so that would have also given blue team the teleport advantage from top lane. But anyway, anything worth pointing out? The Katarina, by the way, this is obviously on modern patch, this replay. Still rushing Nashers, still an incredibly strong item. Meanwhile, Jhin gets a kill on the Aatrox, which is quite nice. So yeah, Katarina's still very strong, but obviously is quite a skill-dependent champion. Maybe less so now because of how strong she is. But, yeah. Also heals an incredible amount, surprisingly, later into the game. But remember, without flash, this cat, if she does get caught, she really will be caught. Meanwhile, the enemy team do a 3-man unkill the Akali with no return. But they are looking for the mid lane, seeing what they can do. These three should be able to kill it. And obviously, mid lane tower is quite a good one to kill because it opens the map up. Enemy team haven't got the mid lane yet. So this is a slight advantage, you would say, pressure on the map for red team themselves. Alright, so they're looking to invade in the jungle a little bit, go for a pick or just take priority in the territory. Put vision down is quite important as well, and also stealing a blue, which that's not a bad thing at all. Aatrox in the area, Bard looking very aggressive, which was a bit surprising. But that might be Kindred's mark, I can't tell looking at the mini-map. Because the Kindred right now is being engaged by the Aatrox. Kindred has got, by the way, 5 HUD marks at the moment. Which for 15-ish minutes in the game isn't too many, but it's also okay. Again, the higher rating you go, the harder it arguably is to even get those marks. People know to not... If you're being marked by Kindred, you know she's going to be actively hunting you, so you're going to adjust your playstyle. And having the confidence to invade into enemy territory in a challenger game is also quite an ordeal too. So worth noting the problematic build at the moment of Eclipse and Collector. Again, it's not just Jhin and Misfortune. The Graves has literally done that build, Eclipse, Collector. So do expect those 2 items to probably get nerfed because it is becoming quite apparent that it's happening on a lot of champions now. Pings helps on the red buff, as Kai'Sa is asking, probably because it's Kindred's mark. I can see now on the minimap that is Kindred's mark going over to that red buff. It is being started though, unfortunately for the Kai'Sa, Kindred. Bard is going to try and steal it, and unfortunately a little bit too late, doesn't end up getting it. But that will be that. So you can see the Bard is actually having quite an aggressive time in the enemy territory. You know, this could be technically warded. He's going to go for the stun, does actually get it, ignites him straight away too. Bit of a wasted ignite, and I think that kind of got ruined because the enemy Kai'Sa kind of distracted the Kindred and the Jhin, but now she's in trouble. Look at that Kindred damage, by the way. Kindred deals so much. Aatrox going to go down too with the cannon, and yeah, so really good teamwork. Bard ultimate coming down. Leona doesn't have a flash to get away, so she most likely will go down too. Nice stun, but too late for her. So again, the Bard, we're never expecting like insane flashy plays, or like we're not probably ever going to really be drop jaw like, oh my god, the damage out of Bard. It's a support. But I thought I'd highlight it just to show you what a solid challenger support looks like. And this is it. Is aggressive, looks for damage often, vision control is pretty good, and is honestly quite aggressive. Meanwhile, and that's the negative of Katarina not having flash, she will go down and the enemy team goes for an engage and gets both of them, which is really nice. Questionable by Kai'Sa. Bard nearly dead though. Enemy team on the aggression foot. Bard's going to try and help his team survive. That's not the best portal. Leona does follow it though, which again is quite questionable. She will go down. Bard doing his best to try and make the Jhin survive. Auto attacks are constantly coming up. Misses his stun though. And do remind you, look at the damage from Jhin. Bard obviously does slow people every now and then with his passive. And that's might have been a double ace. And that last bit there was that without Akali. So really nice. Just constant auto attacks by Bard, a couple of stuns. Unfortunately, a miss thrown in there though. Jhin does overstay, by the way, in mid lane, but survives. Kennen teleports, and again, Katarina has no flash, so she's kind of screwed. And that is, again, that higher risk, high reward strategy with Katarina without flash. Graves looking aggressive to see what he can do. Jhin damage. He doesn't even have his Collector yet, by the way. He's just got his Eclipse, and he's got components for a Collector. Woof! Dragon spawning soon, so I would expect people to start kind of huddling for that. Enemy team has got 2 dragons, and you know, the 2's quite a lot. 3 is when they're likely to get the Dragon Soul, to be honest, because then they only need 1 more. So I definitely would expect red team to really go for this dragon. Meanwhile, Leona might have gone a bit too close, but she does get vision down. Bard is going to instantly deny that vision, which is, again, part and parcel of what a support's job is. And Bard's waiting. He's blocking out the dragon. He'll stun or ult people that come near. And he's kind of acting like a guardian, really. So that's good to see. Red team kill the dragon. Kindred mark, by the way, down here. So Bard is going to potentially help the Kindred go do it. But the Kindred is backing out of it, maybe? Let's see what happens. So, teleport over, straight into the Aatrox, who is actually doing it. He does jump over, but the damage coming out is way too high, and he will go down. And really, that was the Bard himself kind of doing that. The Kindred was backing away, because I think they saw that the camp was getting killed by somebody. But the Bard's like, no, we can do this. I'll portal us over, and straight away get a kill for the team. So, a good support as well is, you know, usually quite a playmaker for the team. making decisions when to do certain things, pinging plays, kind of forcing them really. And it's I think part and parcel because a support may not need. Meanwhile, nice double ultimate. Saves the Kindred's life, actually, that did. Holy moly, really clutch play by Bard there. But part and parcel because the support isn't actively doing like the carrying as such. They can think a lot about strategy. So that's why often if you look at a team, a competitive team, pro teams, a lot of the time the shot caller for the team is the support. Because they arguably have the most free time to think about the strategy. Meanwhile, these two looking for the Katarina. She's going to ult. Look at that damage! Like, that's Katarina in a nutshell in this season. Can Bard get the stun? He's going to flash. The W by Jin comes out, but I don't think anything else. That Katarina damage. This Katarina, just to say, is not even fed, and she literally annihilated that cannon. Yep, Katarina, baby. So she's on the back foot. Will the Katarina find escape or not? Looks like it. She'll probably be in like this general area. Shall we see if she's still around? She is. Oh, there's an Aatrox randomly in here, and the Katarina just got back. So I have no idea why is there an Aatrox in the jungle. That's a bit weird. But yeah. Alright, so Bard's going to go back. And by the way, item build, he did go for the Shirelia's Battle Song mythic item, which is grants you and your nearby allies 40% decaying movement speed for 4 seconds. Champions gain an additional magic damage on their next 3 attacks or abilities it hits against champions. And it grants other legendary items movement speed. So a pretty good Bard item. Bard loves movement speed. And arguably, maybe this Bard as well, we said earlier he went Merc Treads. Maybe he didn't go Swifties or Mobilities because he's buying the item that gives movement speed on other items. So he'll have really fast movement speed when he gets a few more items. So he doesn't potentially even need thingy. Enemy team, nice double stun by Bard. Gets the kill on Graves. Katarina now in trouble and she will go down too. Obviously Graves. Bard ultimate. Lands. Anything coming from it, having his team be aggressive. He's going to try and get to Leona. She does have flash available, so I don't think this will be on. But Bard, you can see, was actually there, movement speed-wise, catching up to a Leona who does have Swifties. So that's worth noting. So Bard right now has 461 movement speed. Leona has 339. So Bard is way faster than Leona, and he's got Merc Treads. And that's a combination between Bard is fast, and he's got the legendary item that gives him movement speed. So that's kind of crazy. Aatrox, by the way, on the back end of Baron, does nearly steal it, but doesn't in the end. High, like, again, pretty high damage, actually, by Aatrox. Legendary Jin, as you'd probably expect in the current meta. Nearly a snipe by Kai'Sa there, but doesn't get it. And Bard will go back and buy a couple more things. So he's got his Winged Moonplate and Chain Vest. I will say, Winged Moonplate, there was actually, like, a post maybe a couple years ago that was basically saying, why is there no, like, leg items in the store? That might be answer. Like this is like a belt and the upper armored part of someone's legs. Meanwhile, this Grave seems to have a play style, by the way, that he's doing the same thing all the time, and that is waiting in a bush to try and get a pick on somebody. This is what this Graves is doing. He's fed because I think the item build is just ridiculously strong, but the play style is quite risky. Enemy team, Bard ultimate is going to come over the top, so this is now giving his team perfect time to get ready for this. And now the fight will actually begin. Enemy team on the back foot. The Katarina damage is, again, mental. But she does get stunned nicely and will go down before she does too much damage. And now the Jin is still alive. The Bard is still off. And which, by the way, just quickly, the Jin's healing. He's nearly going to be full health within just a couple. One auto attack and one Q. Again, that is the power of Omnivamper. There you go. That's the power of Omnivamp. Meanwhile, Aatrox looking for the Bard. He is going to get away. And Aatrox, I actually think, is going to be dead. He's looking for the 1v1 kill. Jin ultimate coming through. Bard sets him up, and there you go. So, enemy team really hungry this game. The Bard himself, though, is currently 2-2-21, by the way. 21 assists, 23 kills being involved out of the 33. This Bard has had an absolute fantastic game. Meanwhile, Kindred mark on the dragon. So you would want Kindred to be involved in this dragon kill to give her the mark. And now this would even up the dragon scores. Ocean Dragon, by the way, arguably, like, obviously I'd still prefer, and she didn't even get a mark then, unfortunately. That's why she's question mark pinging. I would wager that so many people, yes, Infernal Dragon's great, but so many people would love Ocean Dragon stacking because dude, your healing is insane. You have a bit of a fight, you back off, you're full health, and the enemy team isn't. It's nuts. Meanwhile, what is going on here? They are looking for like some weird pick. BARD ultimate comes out, does go for the Aatrox, does get him, and he's just dead. So again, the power of BARD engages. He gets the Aatrox. They're going to break into the base, and they're going to get in and hit straight away. 24 minutes. I think the enemy team got a little bit caught out then, and it showed. Aatrox died, they lost in the hib, and they had no response to it. Not really sure what anybody is. I could probably guess Graves is kind of waiting in a bush somewhere, to be honest, because that, again, he's actually reset. He's in mid lane now. But that has been the Graves' playstyle. And yeah, the pushing in top lane is now going to happen. Again, Bard's farm, not very high, but completed his quest and doesn't really need to take much more than that. And they are now going to be breaking top lane tier 1, which obviously has taken quite a while to do. I'd be interested to see what item the Bard goes next. And I'll say question of the day, fairly late time to ask the question of the day, so I'll know if you've watched till this in the video if you answer. Do you guys know item builds yet? I don't. I really don't. I think, preseason, it's just about relaxing and having fun. Meanwhile, enemy team is caught sleeping again, by the way. I have no idea where they are. But yeah, I haven't really learned item builds yet. I'm probably next season, in January when season 11 starts. Enemy team engaging. Kidra ult comes down. Kennen ultimate is there, by the way, but we can't see it. Katarina in the middle. Bard was looking for the Katarina because he needs to stop her. He doesn't get it, but he does manage to escape. Aatrox is going to look for the Bard. He gets the stun, and that is going to be the fight probably as a whole. Relatively even fight, and they didn't control the Katarina well there, and it did show because she started absolutely annihilating them in the back line. Akali overstays, looking for a weird base, and that is most likely going to cost her life, to be honest. Can she do anything? Bard, again, the support that he is looking to try and save the Akali, and he will do his best, and he might actually end up doing that, which is great. He is slowing him with his Q. I believe that hit. And yeah, so, the Aatrox gets the chain. Oh, it just broke before it would have pulled the Bard back. So that's a good survivor by Bard, and also helped, obviously, save the Akali's life as a whole. And that is what a support is all about, really, let's be honest. So, Bard is going to pick up his Dead Man's Plate. So, Bard still does the Dead Man Plate build. This became very popular last season, actually. It is the roaming Bard build, really. But it's a bit late to buy it because it's 26 minutes. There's not really roaming anymore because there's not really a lane phase anymore. It's still going to be a good item for Bard, though. Gives you also an empowered auto attack with the Dead Man alongside your passive empowered auto attack. So that it's got quite nice synergy there. And you look how fast this Bard is. Doesn't need these mobility boots because of all these, movement speed that he's getting. And now the Dead Man. Excuse me, my throat apparently is not playing ball. Graves are questionable positioning, actually. He went way too close. Bard ultimate coming in. Only hits one target, but that's sometimes all you need. He lands the double stun with the Kennen ultimate over the top. Again, we can't see the Kennen ultimate, but that's all it takes. That is a big combo. Bard helped to start that fight. Kennen over the top. Kennen insane damage, by the way. Did you guys see when everyone just melted? And that will be the game. Yeah, really nice performance by Bard. So what does it take to be a challenger support? Well, this guy, be involved in most kills in the game. Well, I think Jhin actually might have slightly more involvement. But have really high impact in the game. Vision control, vision deny, damage as much as you can, and be a playmaker. This Bard, a lot of the time, was the playmaker this game with his ultimate. So that does show, and that's how you carry games as support. But that's going to be it. If you guys enjoyed, throw a like on it. Let me know what champions you want to see in the upcoming weeks. I will say, just fair warning, I'm on a trip next week, and I'm away for like 5 days. Obviously, that means I've got to bulk record at least 5 days worth of content ahead of time. It's a very stressful thing to do that because, it's minimum 10 videos. Really, if I want to have the next day's content prepared as well when I return, it's like 12 videos ahead of time. Obviously, Challenger Spectates are wonderful to do. I like doing them, and they're guaranteed content. I've spoken that in the past. So there probably will be a bunch of Challenger Spectates in the, let's say, next weekend. So hopefully you guys don't mind that. So yeah, do let me know what champions you want to see because I will be recording a bunch of them very, very soon. But that's going to be it. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.